One of many episodes that made you scratch your head a little bit. And I thought it was a long night for the Democratic frontrunner. As you know, earlier, Dana Perino thought it was really good. Let's find out what Lisa Booth thinks. She's a senior fellow at Independent Women's Voice, Fox News contributor, and joins us now. Lisa, first off, was this good or bad for Joe Biden?
So I think remember David Axelrod said after the second debate for Joe Biden, basically the good news is for Joe Biden, this is the best he can do. The bad news is for Joe Biden, this is the best he can do. I think it's sort of the same. I mean, he has not had any stellar standout performances in any of these debates.
Right.
He's kind of glided by. But here's the thing. He can. Because he is tied to the Obama legacy. And I think you cannot underestimate how important that Obama legacy is for him. That is essentially what is propping up his candidacy and what protects him from all these gaffes and mistakes that he has made.
He can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, I was just the vice president. And when they like something that President Obama did, say, well, I was with him every step of the way. In a way, Castro was 100% right.
Well, and that's what Vice President Biden is doing, right? So he runs an ad in Iowa, basically touting being tied to the Obama administration vice president. He ran a pre-debate ad yesterday, also doing that with him and Obama hugging. And so, but then he divorces himself on the deportations thing. And this is what Castro had to say about that.
But my problem with Vice President Biden, and Corey pointed this out last time, is every time something good about Barack Obama comes up, he says, oh, I was there. That's me too. And then every time somebody questions part of the administration that we were both part of, he says, well, that was the president. I mean, he wants to take credit for Obama's work, but not have to answer to any questions.
And he's right. So when asked about mass deportations, no, I was just the lowly vice president. Nothing to do with that. However, he also says this. So listen to this.
And by the way, Barack and I, as president and vice president, we provided money for voluntary busing.
He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, which Barack and I helped put together.
That's why Barack and I fought so hard to continue to see you funded. Barack and I agreed we were going to give them the chance. He's actively working to undo every bit of the progress President Obama and I and our administration did.
So he's clearly trying to have it both ways. He's saying we need to build upon the Obama legacy. I'm essentially an extension of that. But then when it comes to bad things like mass deportations that are now immensely unpopular among the left, he's like, I didn't have anything to do with that. So you can't have it both ways. Castro seems to be the only one calling him out on it. But Biden also made another comment last night that's getting a lot of attention as well. He was asked about reparations, some comments he made previously about segregation. And so he talked about the need for more money for schools and teachers, but then somehow he ended up talking about this.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words. A kid coming from a very poor school, or a very poor background, will hear 4 million words fewer spoken by the time they get there. There's so much I'm going to go like the rest of them do, twice over.
So he's being criticized this comment, one, sort of showing the age, talking about record player, but then also some of the things he said previously or prior to that, because he talks about the fact that parents don't know, African-American parents don't know what to do with their kids. I'm paraphrasing here. They need help. And so some people on the left are saying that's a tone-deaf comment and are not happy with Joe Biden's response when talking about reparations.
This is not the first time a politician hasn't answered a question. But to paraphrase,
certainly not going to be the last.
To paraphrase a quote that they threw back in his face that said, you said 20 years ago or 30 years ago that I'm not going to be penalized for what my father and my grandfathers have done in the past. I'm worried about now. And then he went on to say, poor kids don't hear enough words, and let's put on the record player. If I'm a voter or if I'm a Democratic strategist and you do this stuff for a living or did, I'm worried about the way he loses himself. I'm worried that he gets so confused. He can read a prompter, but every single event ends up in a problem. This is a pattern.
But see, this is where I think Joe Biden has been underestimated, including by myself, is that support still for President Obama and being part of that legacy. You look at his support among African Americans, it is so strong. You look at states like South Carolina where he's doing so well, particularly because African Americans make up about 60% of the electorate there. So I wouldn't underestimate how much that Obama legacy matters for him.
Okay, Lisa Booth, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, see you soon.